Imagine a world where everything is exposed, where every shadow has been chased away by light and nothing is left hidden. You might think this is liberating, a utopia of clarity. But Byung-Chul Han, in the Transparency Society, whispers a darker truth into our ears. A society of transparency, he writes, is a society of control. Transparency, rather than liberating us, might just be the ultimate cage. Han's argument begins with a paradox. We think that revealing everything, our thoughts, our data, our lives, brings trust. After all, who hides something if they have nothing to fear? But Han flips this idea. When everything becomes visible, trust isn't strengthened, it's erased. Trust, he argues, is only possible in a state of opacity. Trust is about the unknown, about leaving some things to the imagination. Without mystery, relationships, both personal and societal, become mechanical, transactional. Doesn't that make you wonder, is the push for transparency erasing the very things that make us human? The problem is, in this pursuit of openness, we aren't uncovering truth. We're creating a system where everyone is performing, constantly displaying themselves for others, turning their lives into a spectacle. Transparency creates conformity, Han writes. We all start tailoring our actions, our thoughts, our very selves, to fit into a world that demands constant visibility. And the scariest part, we're not being forced into it. We're willingly giving ourselves up to the light. What does it mean to live in a world where privacy, the right to hide, to keep parts of yourself sacred, is treated like a crime? Han sees transparency not as a tool of freedom, but as a tool of power. Think about social media, surveillance, the endless digital trails we leave behind. Han calls this the digital panopticon, where we're not being watched by a single guard in a tower, but by each other, all the time. What happens when we internalize that gaze? When we become our own jailers, curating every post, every word, every interaction to fit into this transparent world? Power today, Han says, assumes a friendly form. It masks itself in positivity. Creepy, right? But what makes Han's vision so unsettling is how easily it all happens. There's no big brother forcing us to comply. Instead, transparency seduces us. It promises us better relationships, more fairness, stronger connections. But at what cost? Every intimate text, every fleeting thought turned into data, fed into an algorithm. Han doesn't just critique the system. He forces you to ask yourself, are we still living, or are we just performing? By the end of the book, you can't help but feel exposed. Like Han has peeled back a layer of reality you didn't even know was there. It leaves you questioning everything. The screens you stare at, the choices you make, the hidden things you've already lost without noticing. And maybe, just maybe, you start to wonder if there's still a way back to the shadows.